Hi, I'm Miranda Erickson. I'm here today with award-winning Topeka novelist Thomas Fox Averill, who has recently published a new novel called A Carol Dickens Christmas. He's going to be here on October 25th from 2 to 3 p.m. to read from his book. Can you tell us a little bit about A Carol Dickens Christmas?
I'd love to. It's my tribute to Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, really, from spending years reading that book aloud and silently, and as a family, and we still do that every Christmas Eve, read greatest hits from Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol. So it seemed natural to research that man who sort of created the modern Christmas, to create some characters who might live in the spirit of Charles Dickens and A Christmas Carol, to set it in Topeka, Kansas, instead of London, England, and really to get through the 12 days of Christmas, in this case from December 12th to January 6th, the 12th day of Christmas. And Carol Dickens is a reference librarian at a small university in Topeka, Kansas. Her son is a high school senior, Finn, and he is leaving home at semester, graduating and going off with a music scholarship. And so it's her last best chance to give him a home traditional Christmas. And he's all about transitions, and she's all about traditions, but she's going to have to go through transitions. And so it's really about the pull that a parent has between traditions and transitions, and that kids have between those things.
I think that's very relevant to our times, especially in very changing times.
Well, it's ironic because I happen to have a 17-year-old high school senior. He's not leaving at semester, but I started this book about 10 years ago when he was 7, and now he's 17, the exact same age as my young character, and I'm understanding both my young character and my son a little bit better this time around.
Personally relevant too.
Yeah.
And I hear that Carol really likes the semicolon.
Yes, that was part of my sense that Carol, as a research librarian, is in her counting house counting punctuation, counting semicolons to be exact, so that she actually studies transitions, even though she's not good at them. She studies transition, and of course semicolon is a transitional move in a sentence, but it's also a signal for her about, like, when did the Victorian period give way to the modern period, and probably it's with the disappearance of those long ornate sentences in these long, ornate, capacious novels like Charles Dickens wrote.
Yes, very characteristic of that type of novel.
And also, since Finn has a music scholarship, he's a trumpet player, and he gets involved a little bit in the kind of Topeka mariachi culture in his senior year of high school. He also punctuation is relevant to that music as well, because
Sure.
the brass and mariachi sort of act as exclamation points or as punctuation marks. And of course, he's used to reading music which has its own kind of punctuation with rests and with measures and things like that. So
Absolutely.
it all kind
I
of
love
fit
that.
together for me.
Yes. And this book has recipes too. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It does. For several years, my family and I would cook kind of these imaginary meals out of Dickens. There are no recipes in A Christmas Carol, but when Scrooge is first in his Scroogiest mood, you know, he goes to that tavern and eats cheese and underdone potato and a bit of beef, and so I've got recipes for that thing that brings on. He thinks brings on the vision of Marley's ghost. Remember, he says, "You might be nothing but a fragment of underdone potato," or something like
Yes.
that. So anyway, I have recipes for that, for the Fezziwig meal from Christmas Past, from the Christmas Present meal, and the Cratchit meal, of course, with the small goose and the apples and the sage and onion dressing and the pudding, and then a recipe at the end for 12th cake and smoking bishop, because Scrooge offers to discuss Bob Cratchit's future over a bowl of smoking bishop at the end of that novel. So I thought it would be appropriate to end my novel with some smoking bishop too. So all those recipes are in there. They weren't in the first draft, but I decided that Carol's passion for food just had to come out a little bit more. And I consulted with a food historian, Andrea Broomfield from Johnson County Community College, who's really good on Victorian food and really good on the meaning of food. So that was fun.
Fantastic. And to make it really authentic.
Yeah. like most of my books, it's researched. I had to research punctuation, and I had to research semicolons, and I had to research Victorian food, and I had to know all about Dickens' time. And Washburn University very generously sent me to London one time right around Christmas so I could experience a Dickens London Christmas, and had a marvelous time. So travel and reading about Dickens, reading his other Christmas novels, or 5 short novels that are set around Christmas time. Cricket on the Hearth, for example, is one of those. It's just a fantastic book itself. So it involves all that research, but then you, as a writer, you put the research aside and just write the fiction. Yeah.
But writing a novel is a learning experience too.
It is.
Awesome. Well, all of you who want to learn more about this book, meet the fabulous Thomas Fox Averill, and pick up your own signed copy of this book, can join us here at the library October 25th from 2 to 3 p.m. in our library's Marvin Auditorium. We'll see you there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. See you there.